All right. Well, this is episode 12, 17 weeks. Life in the Dad Lane. I'm Ed Placencia. That's Lane Compton.
Here I am.
17 weeks, Lane.
Yeah, 17 weeks feels like going on 5 years old. I feel like I woke up this morning, had to leave him early to go to do a little bit of work, but came back after lunch and it was like, you're a toddler now, I swear.
That's so crazy. I mean, it's so crazy that even to this, like, even 12 weeks later that we've been recording, or 12 plus with a couple weeks off here and there. But it's funny how almost a recurring theme is even still how fast he's changing.
Yeah, constantly. And
Wow.
and the thing on my end too that's I've also been taking note in this last week is how the relationship to dad and to my son is also changing in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I came up with a friend who also had a baby. She and her husband 6 months ago had a child, so a little bit older. But she was like, so how's it been for you? Just asking because it's been kind of interesting to watch my husband and the father of my kid and their relationship. And she was asking more because I think it's been hard for him to kind of connect. And, we had talked about that before. A friend of mine had said that. And I think somewhat defensively at first, I was like, oh, well, that's too bad. No, it's been really great. But truly in like the last week, some of it is I've been having to step away a little bit more and start kind of like melding the old lane with the dad lane, which is something that I've been somewhat nervous about. Or, we had talked about like, well, how do I, do that and get back to life? And it's like, well, it'll never be the same. You'll never have that. But I've had some, nervousness around that. And in this last week in particular, it's kind of been coming up. My parents were in town as well and visiting. And so, having them around is great because, you get to share it with them and all that. But for me, it is kind of the relationship between my wife and my son and seeing them grow so close. Or maybe I'm just taking more note of it. And, there is the harsh reality of I'm kind of second fiddle now in a way, and it doesn't necessarily hurt or sting, but there is like, they're continuing to just melt and get closer. And I'm kind of at the same place where I'm here and I'm helpful. And I don't know if you like or know the comedian Michelle Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just had a baby not too long ago as well. And not that I know her, but this is part of a bit that I saw her do.
Yeah.
And she talks about the husband and like the kid being like, who the hell's this guy? Like, whoa, I don't know what is going on. And she's got a whole rant about it. It's pretty funny, but also, all great humor I think comes from a great place or a real place. And there is a bit of that.
Is that something you felt for a while, or did you just kind of like you had a realization that you feel that way?
It's more that. And I don't know if it's been there all along and I've just been like, this is great. No, I don't feel that at all. I'm fine. Totally fine. Don't worry about. No, it's more, I think that I have taken note of it maybe because I am seeing just how my wife and he just keep getting like more and more melded, and I am looking for that connection. Like there has been times for a little bit where I'm the one that can console when he's really upset, and he, there's been days where my wife's like, oh, sure, of course, you're the only one, I guess. Okay. Like, he doesn't want me, which, you kind of joke about, but there is a thing like when you want to help or console your kid when he's upset and whatever, and you can't do it through feeding. The fact that you can do it some other way is really helpful. And I, talking with my friend, was kind of asking, I was like, well, some of it was, I think at the beginning, I finally felt that I could do something. Like 9 months of watching my wife grow our baby. Yeah, I can help her and to a certain degree, but in some way I couldn't take away the discomfort or the pain or, the anxiety about blah, blah, blah. So when the baby came, I felt like, yeah, I'll take care of the diapers. I'll help you get up in the middle of the night. I'll help, And so I had a more proactive role. And that is still there, but it's subsiding a little bit as she feels stronger in her rehab and feeling stronger in her body to tackle some of the more physical things that I was aiding in. And so, again, kind of not as needed. And so maybe that's part of it. But yeah, it's... especially as he's, we're in month 4, just starting now, and he, as we talked before, visually is seeing basically as we are, they say, and you can see him taking in the world a lot more. Therefore, he's a lot more engaged when he is with who and whatever it is. And so the oh, it's Dad, we're together. It isn't as he's like, okay, yeah, I know that. Okay, what are the other things? And so maybe that's part of it. I mean, I don't feel any less love for him or anything like that. But there's definitely this I guess I am still building that relationship with him, and naturally, But it did kind of strike me as she was asking me that. I was like, actually, I can kind of relate to that. There has been, especially in this last week, a little bit of I gotta learn some new tricks, I guess,
Right. Well, it's funny because I think when you talk about dads in general, I think the stereotype is they're more aloof, they're not as connected, they're a little more distant. But I never thought of it in any capacity of the dad feeling, gosh, I'm a little more distant, I'm a little more disconnected, but that's not by choice. That's just how it is. I never considered it from that point of view of that's not a decision that they make or made.
Sure.
It never dawned on me that that's just something that just by the way of nature, that is something that the dad would feel.
That's a really cool observation, Ed. And actually, it makes me think about some of the things we've been reading as we get into now sleep training should kind of start happening and things like that. A lot of the stuff that is coming up is biological. There just is a natural thing that occurs because of our, caveman brains or lizard brains, whatever you want to call it, that, is just biology. It's not anything you can, for example, the thing I'm thinking about that I read recently is right before kids are going to bed, often there's a big kind of surge in energy. And you're like, oh, they're trying to avoid going to bed. They don't want to do it. They're being a pain in the ass. Oh, here we go. But what they say, and some research shows that it's more about when we were going to sleep before, it meant being alone, which then could be very dangerous, that could lead to death.
Right.
Right. And when you think about, there was the connection with mother and father was out hunting, killing, providing food. And when they come back, it's just the kid's already down. Here's the food. Let's eat. Okay, I'll go back out and do it again tomorrow. Mom will be here to protect you. And so all those things, it's oh yeah, it isn't just dad made the choice. Some of it is just biology. Some of it is, just a natural course of things. Potentially, I mean, it's that's why I love that observation by you, is because I'm certainly feeling that in a certain degree. It's not a thing that I don't know about this kid, I'm out,
Right.
It's I'm trying to find a way in, and the things that I felt were in before Like, is it not working anymore? I'm not funny anymore? Like, what? You know,
Right.
you're not laughing.
Yeah.
That joke killed last night. What's going on?
Right. And that's also something that, gosh, I never, like, I can understand dads and moms struggling that, like, with that, when their kid is like a teenager and like, I can't get through, I can't connect, I can't get in there. And I never would have suspected that could happen at, this many months in already. Like, that's just, that's insane.
Yeah, it's interesting. And who knows, maybe I'm overly sensitive and just want to be liked by my son.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Which is natural, I suppose, too. But yeah, it just kind of made me take a step back and be like, yeah, I am still kind of settling into the role too. And, you get a lot of like, oh, how's dad life? How's it going? Like, it's good.
Yeah.
And as I'm saying it out loud, I can almost hear like, wait, am I doing it right? Is there something more? Like, and because they kind of go, okay. I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, it's my life now. I don't know. I like it. I don't know.
What does, I was going to ask, I assume you've mentioned just that, what you're feeling with your wife, and what does she say?
Yes and no, like not so to the extent that I'm kind of working it out still in myself. But, there's been the moment like, God, I don't know. He's not interested in me, and she's like, oh, come on, no. But yeah, no, I don't know. Truly, it's so kind of new. Like this literally came up in a rehearsal that we were having over the weekend. And so, yeah, it's like, worked tonight at the bar, had a rehearsal. I've kind of been away a little bit more in the last 48 than I've been present at home.
And while you're away, is it easy for you to continue to mull that over and kind of spiral in your head, kind of like get yourself worked up? Like, does it get worse and worse the more you think about it, but you keep thinking about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, the more, I'm kind of reflecting on it, the more it's like, yeah, well, maybe it is kind of always been there, but things have been easier because I have been more of the taskmaster of like taking care of things. And I do really, I think that sounds so kind of stereotypical too, but I like to, take care of the things around the house and be present and help out and feel like I have a purpose. And that whole thing we talked about that I heard from Bob Odenkirk of like, he envies anyone who has a child that's young and toddler age because, when he was there, he found a purpose and he knew what it was about. And I have that, and I had that more. And, maybe a little bit with feeling like so much of it could be me doing other things and wanting to contribute more or whatnot. That is the doubt of it is coming up. But it's not a black cloud hanging over me. When I was back this afternoon and saw him and we were together, it's laughter and playing and fun. And, we're not, distant or incapable of being together. Or, like he just cries when he's with me or something like that. It isn't that. There's just the, shifts that he's going through a lot, and I think naturally I am too, I guess. And try not to look at it as a negative, I guess it would be the thing I'm trying to focus on when you say, does it like spiral me? No. But I will say that I think it's easier for me to be away than my wife. I mean, when we were at the wedding, we talked about, I was like, okay. Yeah, a few hours. We've had our fun. Let's go home, But there is a part of me that wants to have the other part of my life, which does mean being away. And trying not to feel guilty about that, but also still be responsible to home and helping and being present so that my wife isn't just alone in it. That's, certainly a huge desire of mine to be equally handed and helping and all that. But they, it's something that you read about. It's like, it will be harder for the woman. And in a sense, I kind of get that. It's like you had it literally growing inside of you, and now it's out, and your responsibility, especially people, just keep saying, well, keep them alive and keep them fed and happy. And like, that's all your job is right now. Just keep them alive. And that can be a joke, but it's also kind of, a big part of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but within that, you also hear like, yeah, it will be easier for the father figure to step away, whatever gender that may be. But like that role certainly kind of comes with that, I think. And I don't know if that's biological too, right? It was part of the job to have to step away to provide and save the family from starvation and all those things. We advance so much, and yet still the monkey brain. Yeah.
I think it's really good, Lane, that you're aware of it. And I think it's good that you're dealing with it with yourself rather than it doesn't become resentment toward your wife. Because I also think there are probably stages where each of you and your wife will feel that same way. Like, oh, wow, I'm home with him all day, and then dad gets home and it's all fun and games, and you get to be, and so I feel like there are probably stages where each of you are going to feel that weird disconnect that I wish I had what the other person had. And I think as long as you continue to be aware of it and know that it's there, I think that's a bigger, you can kind of preemptively guard yourself from any bad feelings toward your partner. Sure. And kind of get ahead of the ball and ahead of the curve. So I think it's good that you're aware of it rather than just sitting and stewing and being irritable. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
like it's
for sure.
It's good that you're able to put a thing on like, this is what it is. I'm feeling off. I'm feeling weird, and it's because of this. Like you've been able to identify it. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. It's also awesome. As I feel we've entered the self-help section, as this podcast might turn into advice from Ed.
That's which right.
It tracks
advice
because
from a non-licensed.
Well, I mean, hell, I was only going to say how great it is because all that tracks with things that are happening at my own therapy, and that same kind of dialogue of being told like, well, yeah, that's happening now on your end, but there will be a time where all he wants to do is play with dad, and your wife will see that, so yeah, that tracks, man. And I appreciate the further reflection of that because yeah. I mean, in a sense, that's part of why I think this has been good and hopefully can be helpful is sometimes we don't, share this part of the journey. And I, know that I don't know how this was for my dad. I don't know, if he remembers. I know him being here recently and all the memories flood back of when you were a kid and all, but it's all the good stuff,
right.
Well, as it should be. And do you know anything about how your dad felt with being dad? And
I don't, but my dad was very, very, everything is on the inside, bottles it up. And, it wasn't until maybe 10 years ago, he actually started to go to therapy. But when I was a kid, was, these people going to therapy, like, one of these, these
head shrinkers.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's really good that you bring it up. And I love the fact that your friend said that her husband was feeling the same way, but I've never heard a dad talk about that before, but obviously, just the fact that all of a sudden two of you in that small circle, it's like, wow, how many other dads felt or are feeling this way or might possibly in the future and would benefit in knowing this might be a thing I'm going to go through. and
Totally.
heads up on it, you know?
Yeah. And I also feel very grateful to one of my best buds who also shared something similar with me about this. And, you know, being that vulnerable about something that is supposed to be the greatest joy of your life and is still,
Yes.
you know,
Right.
I think is really brave. Not patting my own back, but hearing it from him. And then, you know, also for my friend at the studio to reach out about her husband in that and kind of give me the opening to allow that to also be a part of it, you know, because there's pressure to be, you want to be the best parent. You want to do it right and be, I mean, generally, I think that's probably true for most, especially if it was the planned thing and you wanted to do it. Even if it wasn't, I'm sure that's a part of it. I know it is certainly for me. And within that comes the fear of like, well, don't say any of the bad stuff. You know, you don't want to look like the bad dad who doesn't care. And it's like, right. Yeah, it can be both sides of the coin at once. And that's it's brave to have heard it from other people. And so I think I've only kind of rode their coattails through this, you know, to that. So,
well, I think it also it speaks on your ability to surround yourself and become close with people who are good people, because the fact that she brought it up to you only means that she and her husband talked about it and she heard. And
wow.
then,
yeah.
You know, and then she reached out to you and asked you about it. And so I just think, I mean, you've got yourself a really cool, whether you know it or whether it was intentional or not, but you've kind of set yourself up with just this group of people or, you know, friends that I think it's awesome. You know, the fact that you guys can talk about that and keep yourself in check or check up on each other. And, you know, I think a lot of people, when they have a newborn, can go into isolation.
Totally.
And you don't see them for a year and a half. And I love that you guys have not done that. And you're keeping that, because I mean, for your own sanity, it just can't be the three of you. You know, you'd go insane. So the fact that you guys are still talking and reaching out and have this group of friends and going on trips and you know, it's, you know, like you said in the very, I think, first episode of how you still have things you want to do. You're just going to have to figure out how you're going to continue to do them. And so I think it's awesome that you guys, that was your intention and you're following through, and, you know, just, you know, little bumps and divots along the road. But maybe the reason that your dad, I think that's for the most part, when we get together and reminisce, it's usually the good stuff we talk about.
Sure.
You know, and so, you know, once in a while, maybe we'll, you know, have a laugh about a struggle or something, or talk about a struggle. But for the most part, when we talk about, when I get together with my dad and we talk about, we just remember the good times. And so, you know, it could just be that you guys had so many good moments, it kind of, that you don't even think about the other stuff. And so this just might be a thing that while you're in it, it's very real and it's very present, but you can also kind of take solace in the fact that times will be so good that something that even feels like this will be totally overwritten.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that. You know, it's funny. I can't remember if we shared this or not, but when we knew we were going to have a C-section, some of us were like, oh, some of it was, oh, that's great. We know the day, we won't have to have the go bag. We'll know the time generally, you know, that's kind of takes the load off. Right. And then like literally the day before, it's like, wait, this will be traumatic. It's not natural. They're going to be cut out of our, my wife out of her belly, like that, you know, and share that with the friend who actually shared about his, you know, feelings of like, I'm learning to love him. I didn't love my child right away, blah, blah, blah. He said, yeah, it may be slightly traumatic, but you're going to cause way more trauma in their life than this. So yeah, I wouldn't put too much weight on this one. There'll be plenty of time to or leap this. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah, sounds like it's the bewitching hour. I can hear him breaking down a little bit. Yeah, it may show up in the. Yeah, he's having a tough
barely
time.
heard that one. Yeah. Is it bath time? Is that what's going on?
No, I think we're still planning to do that tomorrow, but it's kind of this hour. He's been doing really great, but this afternoon, just after getting home and having a great couple of hours, he started to have a little bit of a meltdown. He's been going through a weird phase with sleep, but also bowel movements, and like this morning he woke up a little bit earlier than usual, but we're kind of like still figuring that sweet spot for getting a longer sleep and getting him to bed early. That's kind of the focus right now, is sleep training and whatnot. But that did mean he was up a little bit earlier today, and in the first hour of being up, he spit up 4 times. So like that first feeding, I think he spit all of it up, and his stomach was just like all over the place. There's been some shifts even in that, and like, we've talked how now he's not an everyday anymore, and pooing every day. Yeah, there's some shifts he's going through. So I think some of it is growing pains. We've noticed that he may already be in the throes of teething, which can happen even though, the teeth aren't coming through the gums, but the development of them can already be something that's very irritating. The bottoms is what come in first, I'm learning. And even in our 4-month checkup last Friday, where he got his second round of vaccinations, and we got the weight and height, and where he's on his trajectory and all of that, and generally he's doing good. But she did mention like it has that started, because it can, and we're like, yeah, actually we've noticed that he's putting so many things in his mouth now. That's the way he maps the world, as it was worded in one of the books. But it is also now turning into like I need something to be gnawing on because my mouth hurts is what we think. Of course, you can't tell us, so you don't know.
Right.
But yeah, interestingly enough, to backtrack to some of the things we talked about before that I learned at this stage in the game, we had talked about him standing and maybe not being a great thing for his hips because they're not strong enough to hold the weight. They're not weight bearing enough. Yeah. And the pediatrician reassured us, no, that it is okay if he has that desire. Let him exercise it, because it is a part of the growing to, even crawling. If he's going up to standing, there's the desire to be shifting to another place to get going. So he's okay to do that. So if I scared anyone into thinking, oh, don't let my kids stand, because my wife was concerned with that because of some of her knowledge. But what we've learned is some of her knowledge is always the worst case scenario, which is what she's having to deal with in the ED or ER emergency department. And so that can't always be what's actually happening. That some of it is, it could be if that's the worst case scenario, but it's not always the worst case scenario. Sometimes it's just he wants to stand up, and that's okay. So totally. Same thing with the laying on his back, and like from head, where his head position is when he sleeps, to not always let him be in one place. And he's somewhat developed a little bit of a misshapen in the back of his head, but we're so overly sensitive. She's like, it's barely noticeable. You really don't have anything. And I'm constantly going, which side is he sleeping on? Okay, can I turn him? She's like, don't wake him up. I'm like, I know, but like the head, and I'm just so nervous about it. Because I've had other friends whose kids had to wear the helmet to help shape it. And because, who wants to have a, weird misshapen head? But again, it's okay. Chill out, parents. Your first time parents, it's gonna be okay. Was kind of the message we got. But yeah, he's having a little bit of a breakdown right now.
Yeah. Are you okay? Do you need to do anything?
My wife's there. I don't know that I could do anything except for give her relief. And if she needs it, she knows she can come. That's the deal. All right. So if it really gets crazy and she can't deal with it anymore, she can come in and tell me. So that's the deal.
So sleep training has started? And what does that include?
Well, trying to find like the good 12-hour window for the night of like, is it going to be like a 6 to 6, a 7 to 7? How does it work for your lives, but also for theirs? Do you want it to be, well, he goes down early so that we can have dinner later, or you want him to be present for it and then you put him down after? Finding that kind of window. Also, we were told by the pediatrician that my wife can really phase out feeding during the night. He can still wake, and if he needs to be consoled, fine, but that you can start cutting that out. Also, like last night and I think the night before, I don't know that we did it the night before that. My folks were still here. So we have started putting him down without him being asleep. Before, it was often like a, gotta hold him. Ed, I'm just going to check in to make sure she knows that she can, and well, she knows she can, but that she would if she needed to.
Yeah, and tell her I told her.
Okay.
She can.
Right. I will. All right.
That was so we stopped recording so that Lane went out and came back and had his son with him, and it was just so cool after hearing the frustrations that you were having, just to see the difference, like seeing you being able to soothe him. I was like, yes. All right. Like, that was just really nice to see. And there's a little part of me that feels bad for your wife right now, but also see, but he's not with Dad. Like, see, Dad helped. He's not with Dad, and it started again. So yeah, that was nice to see, man.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, that's those moments when, and he's got some lungs, man. I think it's still coming through. But where you're like, I don't know how much longer I can take this. God.
Yeah.
And when you're alone in it, it's really hard.
I bet.
I might have to.
You want to call it early?
He has stopped right now. I mean, it's just hard. I mean, the agreement of this is, to get this window is great, but also it's to not cause any.
Oh yeah.
100% pain for her.
Yeah. If you want to,
it does seem like she's okay. And, I made it clear when I grabbed him just a second ago that she can, as she knows, always come in. But
yeah,
sounds like he's subsided and she's okay. So,
but how are you? Do you need to
I'm
make
split.
this a shorter episode?
I mean,
you know what? Let's call it.
I think that would be the best thing is to,
And I think that's
life in the dad lane isn't about a podcast. It's about being a dad. The podcast is helpful, hopefully, but it's about that job first.
Yeah, and that's the sign of a good dad right there. It's not we got another 25 minutes that we should probably
hold on. I'm recording. Keep it down.
Yeah. No, I think this is. I mean, that's what it is. Like, it's real life.
Yeah.
And that's what's most important. So I think it's.
Well, I appreciate the thought and support of that. So.
Yeah, totally.
Love you, buddy.
Love you
I'll
too,
see
man.
you.
It's good to chat with you.
Always, man. Okay.
Alrighty.
Next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.